Hi all, welcome back to the session, and we'll be covering reading number 46 now. Okay, and this particular reading is also like a very simple theoretical, but it gives you a understanding of how do you plan a portfolio or how do you construct a portfolio. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we had seen that previously that we have to uh, write a investment policy statement for a client. Okay, now what is the recommendation is that investment policy statement should not be verbal. Okay, it should be written. Okay, so you should have a written investment policy statement, or IPS should be like documented, and you have to get the sign of the client as well as you have to sign the document, so that you have an agreement as what has been decided and how the portfolio will be executed. Okay, so what we have is IPS is the starting point. So once you have the discussion with the client, you create a IPS is just the starting point of the association with the client. Okay, now we say that it is not possible to achieve the client's objective without understanding the requirement. Okay, so IPS should not be verbal. Okay, and in this IPS, okay, why you create IPS, and that to written IPS, okay, it needs you to determine whether the investment, so let's say you have done some investment, so IPS was verbal, so verbally the client has said that okay, I am a risk taker and you can invest my money in let's say futures and options. Okay, and let's say you lose a lot of money in futures and options, the next day, the next month client comes and say that you have lost a lot of my money, I will go to the court. Okay, you have not dealt my money properly. So what you have is, if you have an IPS which is written, okay, so you can determine whether the investment that was done, whether was done as per the IPS or not. Okay, this is for you. Okay, or as a because what happens is many times you come up with some good opportunity. Okay, so let's say I have come up with a good stock of buying opportunity of stock A. Okay, now what I feel is this stock A is very risky, the standard deviation is very high. Okay, now this stock A may not be suitable in some client, let's say C1 client it is suitable, for C2 client it is not suitable. Okay, so I cannot invest C2 clients money in stock A, but how do I keep track of whether it is suitable for C1 or not, or whether it's suitable for C2 or not? So IPS acts as a reference document. Okay, whether I should invest in a stock, whether IPS allows me to invest in that stock or not. Okay, so this is for you as a portfolio manager, it will help you in investment. Okay, also the client can see. Okay, so you have created a portfolio of the client will go through the performance statement that you have given, so he will see whether you have created the portfolio. Okay, whether you have created the portfolio as per the requirement or not. Okay, now, okay, if let's say you are managing a portfolio of a client. Okay, so you are working in a big firm, you are working in a big XYZ firm, and you are managing portfolio of a client A, let's say. Okay, now you decide to leave that company and you want to move to another company ABC. Okay, now if the client is sticking to that firm, okay, somebody who is replacing you, he should understand that whatever decision that you have taken, what are those decisions, why you have taken that, right? So it is helps in the continuity of the portfolio, like helps the company in managing the portfolio for that particular client if you leave, or if that portfolio manager leaves the firm. Okay, if you do not have a written IPS, if you do not have proper documentation, how that person, how the new fund manager will know that whether the on what basis these investments were done. Okay, and the fourth case is what we discussed, that is in case of any dispute, in case that the client is not agreeing with whatever investment you have done. Okay, he can take that matter to the court. So what you have is, like, in the court, IPS comes as a document which is legally binding, because it is being signed by you, it is signed by your client, so that means client has understood whatever the construction you have done or you are planning to do. So it acts as a reference, it is a legal document, so in case of dispute you can produce. So it's not necessary that you have to go to the court. So clients can come and say that this performance is not good, what is the reason. So you can show him that this is what was agreed as per IPS. If the client doesn't understand, then and he moves to the court, then you can show this type of evidence in the court also. Okay, so that's why whenever you are dealing with any client, make sure the IPS is written, it's properly documented, take the signature, and whatever changes you are doing in the IPS, it should also be documented. Okay, CFA Institute recommend that an IPS should be reviewed annually, because every year you will you can have some changes in the circumstances, the goals, objectives, things can change. So you have to review the IPS at least annually, but it can be more frequent also. Okay, think about a person has got married, right? So he has now new requirement. A person has a new member in the family, he has got kids, so you have again some new requirement, the requirements have changed. So ensure that whenever this some new things is happening, you go and update the IPS, you discuss with the client, update it, get the client's consent, okay, and then execute the portfolio accordingly. Okay, so this is the, like, we have to write the IPS. Okay, we should have a written IPS. Any question?